Picture this. While Argentina chases another World Cup title on American soil, federal investigators are reportedly digging into money trail tied to the Argentine Football Association that runs straight through major U.S. banks. Argentine media that reviewed banking records put at least $260 million in commercial revenue moving through America's financial system. Investigators have also reportedly flagged about $57 million in transfers without a clear business purpose. Listen, that is not a locker room story. That is a banking story. So how does a foreign soccer federation's cash land on the FBI's radar in Miami and Washington? And why should ordinary Americans care about wires they never see? I'll give you the short version first. After Argentina's global boom, a Florida company reportedly began collecting a huge chunk of the federation's international commercial money and parked it in big-name U.S. bank accounts. On paper, a lot of that can look like sponsorship and broadcast cash. But here's where it gets crazy. Reporting says a large slice cannot easily be tied to ordinary operating costs, and federal sources have told U.S. outlets the FBI is examining whether fraud or money laundering may have occurred. No charges have been filed. Nobody has been convicted. This is an active preliminary probe. But that's not the full story. The real trapdoor is not the jersey logo. It is the corridor. When big international payments bounce through U.S. banks, those banks have duties under America's Bank Secrecy Act. They watch for odd patterns, shell companies, thin explanations, money hopping between accounts for no clear reason. Suspicious activity reports can follow. Suddenly, a sports story becomes a federal financial case. Let's slow this down. The Argentine Football Association, the AFA, runs Argentina's national team. Its president is Claudio Tapia, often called Cheeky Tapia. Reporting also names treasurer Pablo Tovigino. Important line: they have denied wrongdoing in related Argentine probes. Keep the presumption of innocence in your head. According to Nacion and later coverage by CBS Sports, UPI, and the Miami Herald, federal prosecutors and FBI agents in Washington and Miami have been gathering testimony and financial records. Stay precise. The Justice Department and FBI have not posted a full public confirmation of every detail, though law enforcement sources and banking records have been cited by major newsrooms. At the center sits a Florida LLC called TourProdEnter, formed in 2021. Reporting names principals Javier Ferroni and Erica Gillette. TourProdEnter reportedly acted as the AFA's international commercial agent, collecting sponsorship, media, and match-related money. After the 2022 World Cup win, Miami got busier and the dollars got bigger. Nacion reported TourProdEnter managed at least $260 million through accounts at Citibank, Synovus, Bank of America, JP Morgan, and PNC. The same reporting said about $57 million went to companies and beneficiaries without a clear economic justification in the documents reviewed. Other coverage puts a wider AFA-linked pool closer to $300 million through U.S. banks and companies. Those are contested reporting figures, not courtroom facts. Then everything changed in how the story looks to American investigators. The Miami Herald reviewed banking and corporate records and reported TourProdEnter sent at least roughly $40 million to other Miami companies, several looking like shell firms with virtual offices and little obvious staff. One reported red flag is almost absurdly clean for compliance officers. An LLC Florida had already dissolved for failing annual reports, still reportedly received hundreds of thousands of dollars afterward. Money to a dead company is not automatically a crime. Still, that detail stuck with me. Luxury spending also surfaces. Private jet firms, yacht charters, high-end shopping linked to company accounts. Luxury is not illegal. Sponsors pay for travel all the time. The question is whether Federation commercial revenue was diverted for personal use, disguised through shells, or structured into money laundering or bank fraud under U.S. law. That has not been answered in court. There is also a Miami remittance angle. Sources told the Herald investigators may be looking at whether sponsorship money collected in the U.S. was later pushed through South Florida remittance channels towards Argentina. Remittance shops and wire corridors are classic choke points. If your trail jumps from a fancy bank account into a harder-to-follow funnel, American investigators get interested fast. Reporting says Argentine sports businessman Guillermo Tofoni sat for hours of questioning with prosecutors and FBI agents. He's been in a dispute with the AFA over commercial rights. Disputes can be messy. Witnesses can have agendas. That's why investigators collect records, not just stories. The preliminary U.S. inquiry reportedly took shape in 2025 and expanded in 2026. Separately, Argentine authorities have pursued their own cases involving raids and tax or social security allegations. Those tracks are not the same as the Miami-Washington probe, but they surround the same federation in a World Cup year. Here's the pattern Americans should learn without pretending we already know the ending. A complex commercial agent sits between sponsors and a sports federation, collecting enormous sums. Funds park across multiple major U.S. banks, then move among accounts in short windows without clear memos. Payments hit newly created companies at virtual addresses. Related parties close to leadership appear in the trail. Bank paperwork even conflicts on basic identity facts for company officers. Those are compliance smell tests. That's why the Bank Secrecy Act exists, to force U.S. banks to report weird corridors before scandals become headlines. Does this wreck Argentina's tournament? Reporting says no. This is not a FIFA roster case, but the timing still stings. Federation leadership is traveling in the same country where the banks and the FBI sit. For fans who remember the 2015 FIFA cases, the logic should feel familiar. When foreign soccer money uses American banks and American LLCs, U.S. prosecutors can examine whether the wires themselves violated American law. Where does it stand? No U.S. criminal charges have been announced against the AFA or its top officials in this probe. TourProdEnter has rejected suggestions of wrongdoing. Federation voices stress presumption of innocence. Serious allegations, serious documents, no verdict yet. If you move money through American banks for a business, a non-profit, or a sports group, the lesson is blunt. Paper trails matter. Purpose of payment matters. Shell companies get you noticed. And everyone in soccer does this is not a legal defense. The money is still being traced. The questions are still open, and the banks in the middle are American banks, which is why this story belongs on your screen. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel.